face the east towards Jerusalem. You stand in front of the camera. Can you go ahead and open us up with prayer, Elder?
And all praise, thanks, and honor to the Creator of heaven and earth, the power of all powers, the glory of our father Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, the power that resurrected Yahshua, our King, and blessed him with eternal glory. We come before your throne of grace, knowing that Noah obtained grace in the Old Testament and all the prophets, but none that is righteous can come before you, to stand before you, Holy Father, in their integrity. We all are sinners, as the word says. We all have fallen short, but yet by your mercy and by your covenant we enter in boldly to take hold of your salvation, Father, which is secure through your Ruach and your word. We praise you, Heavenly Father, that you beginning to pour out your spirit as you promised our fathers. That you beginning to pour out your spirit upon all flesh to manifest the fulfillment of your word spoken by the prophet. We thank you for our assembly. Humbly, I think we can say we are the least of all the assemblies. And you're about to bless us from heaven because we don't put our trust in man. So let it, when the Spirit moves and the world sees the glory that has been cooking, or that you've been preparing by your anointed one, let it not be said that it was by our power or through sleight of hand or through music or through food or through, but it was through your Spirit, Father. Because again, we are the least, but we put our faith in you. We know that you're going to lift us up for your name because we put our trust in your word, and your word cannot lie. So we know we represent the tip of this spear, the tip of that cornerstone that you are going to pierce through, that the world might know that you have not forsaken your people, that you have in your word provided a way of salvation for them even in these terrible times. But we must have faith in you, Holy Father. And again, we thank you as we come before your throne of mercy, in the blood of the covenant, asking that you bless this people, Holy Father. This people, your people. And you are a creator of heaven and earth, and all things are yours. So it's in the authority of your Son we ask these mercies. Hallelujah.
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 Praise you.
Praise you. All right, shalom. My name is Yadon Yasharal. My brother Wesley Yasharal. Shalom. And we are Savior Word of Yah Ministries. And today is Rosh Shannah, which is the Hebrew New Year. And what you have is you have a lot of confusion with that. The Jewish people, they call Rosh Hashanah the beginning of the 7th month, which does not add. We know what's the beginning of the 7th month. What holy day is that?
Trumpet.
It's Teruah. So we know it's not Rosh Hashanah. It's not the head of the year because it clearly tells you in the 7th month you shall blow a blowing of trumpet. So they're following something else. They're doing something else. Just like these Christian holidays, they're doing something else. What we do is we follow what's in the book, and we keep the month a bit. Why this is also very important is we understand that we had our 400 years of affliction here in the U.S. that just ended with 2019. So coming into this 2020, starting this new holy year, you have a lot of things going on. Things are happening very quickly. The major thing that's happening that they're not talking about to the extent that they should be is this economy. The economy is tanking. This so-called coronavirus that's going around is also affecting. They shut down concerts. People aren't flying as much, which means the airlines aren't using as much gas. People aren't traveling as much, so they're not using as much gas. They're staying home. They're not interacting. And this is affecting the economy. Not to mention the United States position and sanctions and everything that they're doing, which is causing issues. So all of this is happening right on time. 2020, right after the 400 years. And if you take 20, multiply times 20, you get 400. So there's a lot of little interesting coincidences going on right now. So we might want to pay attention to what's happening and might want to practice like this is the scrimmage before the game. Because once the game comes on, you got to be ready. You got to know your plays. You got to know your playbook, which is the Yah's rules of righteousness. And you got to know where you need to be, where you're supposed to line up on the field. Are you supposed to line up over here in U.S.? Or are you supposed to be lining up into getting ready to enter into your land to escape the judgment that's about to happen to this country? Yeah. So it's just like a sport. All these things you need to know before the game. It's too late when the game starts because if you lined up on the other side of the field and you're supposed to be over here, there's going to be a penalty. And that penalty, just like in professional sports, could cost you your job, could cost you your somebody to get hurt, including yourself, because you're not lined up properly. So we want to pay attention to those things. So we're going to have a short class, and then we're going to go ahead and get into our celebration because the pagans, they celebrate Janus year or New Year that they do, and they party and they have a good old time. So Yah's holy days, we party as well. And I just wanted, something just came to my mind earlier before we were starting class. I was just thinking about that parable about the wedding feast. And, the king had the wedding feast and he called all the people that were worthy. He called all his servants. He called all his people, his family. Called all of them first. Y'all come. I'm having a big wedding feast. My son is getting married. Come. This is huge. But one had his business. He had to go do his business. Another one had to tend to his farm. Another one had to tend to his merchandise. And it wasn't important to them. If this was truly their master or their king calling them, then it would have been important to them that the king said, hey, this is monumental. Come through. But they didn't come. So he went on the street and he grabbed anybody. He told them to go grab anybody. And they grabbed everybody off the street, whether you was his servant, whether he was good with him, whether he was, an upstanding citizen, whatever. Grab him. Come. We filling up these seats. Then when they came, they found one man that was in there that didn't have his wedding garment. He didn't have the spirit. He was there. He was in the right place. He showed up for whatever reason, whether it was a free meal or whether, because it was happening. Everybody was there or he trying to get a job, whatever the case may be. He showed up, but he wasn't prepared. He didn't have the spirit. He didn't have his oil in his lamp. And they said, bind that man by feet and send him to outer darkness, will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So the reason why I brought that up is year in and year out, his servants that are being obedient to him are the ones that said, I'm not going to go, but ended up coming. Because that's us. We first said, nah, we ain't doing it. And then we said, okay, we rented. show up year in and year out on Yah's days, on his Shabbats, on his holy days, on his new months, on his appointed times, to the best of our ability. And we could be off. Only Yah knows. But we showing up. And we showing up with the Spirit. Those individuals, Yah is marking that. He's seeing that. And now what you got this so-called virus that might be coming out, that might be the end-all, be-all, the way they trying to boost it up. You have coming here, after we just read by Passover, that if you keep the Pesach in its day, in its season, in its rites, then the plague will pass over you. No plague shall come on you. We might want to pay attention to those things because we've been in this grace period for a long time, but that grace period is going to end. Now, we don't know if it's going to end right now. All we know is that's what's coming next. That's all we know is the Great Tribulation is coming next. So today, again, is Rosh Shannah, which means head of the year. This is New Year, and we're going to first open up in Deuteronomy, Devarim chapter 16. We're going to read a few verses there. Deuteronomy. And, you know, we talk to our people and we tell them, listen, man, it's time to go. It's time to leave. Prepare yourself. Wrap your mind around getting out of here. I know it sounds so far-fetched to leave Massa, but we getting up out of here. We don't know how specifically. We don't know when specifically. We just know that the bus is coming. So we need to be prepared. And people say, oh, you know, this is not like, you know, Egypt the first time. They were being tortured. They were being hurt. But yet, when they came out, you still had many people that wanted to go back. Why did they want to go back?
Couldn't leave Babylon.
They couldn't leave Babylon alone. Plus, everybody didn't get their child killed. It might have been your brother that got his child killed and put into the wall. Your child might have survived. So you're saying, well, because my child didn't die, I'm okay. I'm okay with this slavery. But you okay with the slavery, but yet your brother's child got murdered. Your sister's child got murdered, but you're okay because long as you're all right, you're comfortable. That's that slave mentality. That's that house nigga mentality. The house nigga was comfortable. He wasn't trying to overthrow Massa because he was comfortable. He had a bed or a room in the house, got to eat the good food. But the field niggas, they was suffering. But the house nigga he was okay because he wasn't suffering as bad. There's no different as now. We might not be suffering as bad as our ancestors, but we are slaves. If you cannot answer who your great, 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 great ancestor was, his name and his language, and where your land that belongs to you is, you're a slave. Every other captivity, we knew those answers. And there's plenty of slaveries with wars, and people go to war and you go into slavery. That's fine, but they didn't strip who you were. Elder, I know you were waiting for a second. You got something?
No.
They knew who we were. So at the end of the day, we have to get rid of this slave mentality. This is not your home. This is not comfortable for us here. What Malcolm X say, you know, 400 years of slavery, he throws us a bone and we supposed to be happy with the white man or something like that because he threw us a little bone. Well, that's the mentality we need to have. We cannot be satisfied and happy with things here because it's not as bad as it used to be, or it's not as bad as somebody living over here. So let's open up in Deuteronomy, Devarim chapter 16. And we're just going to read a few verses here. Start at verse 1.
Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto Yahweh your Elohim, for in the month of Abib, Yahweh your Elohim brought you forth out of Mitzrayim by night.
All right, so Yahweh Elohim brought us forth out of Mizraim. Moses didn't do it. We didn't do it. Yah did it. But as in all things, he doesn't do anything without telling his servants, the prophets, first. And notice it says, observe. What's that Hebrew word for observe? Should be what, shamar?
H8104.
Shamar. All right, so shamar. Shamar, S-H-A-M-A-R. That's properly to hedge about. That is guard. So we supposed to guard the month of Abib. We watching and waiting for the new year to come and attending to it. Being aware, be circumspect, take heed, mark, look narrowly, reserve, safe, sure, wait for, watchman. So the month of Abib, the new month, the Hodesh of Abib, we are supposed to be ready for it. That's the new year. We're supposed to treat that like a holy day because it is a holy day. This is why it says observe, shamar, mark. All right, so this month of Abib, we came out of Egypt and we keep the Passover this month. So we're going to see when that is. Let's move on. Let's go to Exodus chapter 12. And we're going to read Shemot chapter 12. We're just going to read verses 1 through 11. All those wise virgins and all those foolish virgins. Those foolish virgins didn't think that the master was going to open the door at night. Surely we here early all day, so he's going to open the door during the daytime. He opened it at midnight. All these parables Yahshua keeps putting forth is to remind us and to warn us that, look, I'm coming like a thief in the night. If I wanted everybody, if I didn't want to cut off 2/3 of my people, then I would be making a come down here and send, some flowers to everybody and knock on the door and let everybody know and be peaceful and put an ad in the newspaper. They would do all that. But now he want to see who's serious about this thing. And every year we say the same thing. This could be the year. Well, eventually it's going to be the year. When are you going to take it serious? Are you going to take it serious when it's too late and now it's game time and you don't know the plays? Or are you going to take it serious when you start to understand the prophecies, how they're starting to line up? And you look at the news and you're starting to see these things happen to place. If that doesn't wake you up, nothing is going to wake you up. Exodus, Shemot chapter 12, we're going to read verses 1 through 11.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and Aaron in the land of Mizraim, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
So this month shall be the beginnings of months, shall be the head of the month, shall be the Rosh, the Shannah. That's what beginning of the months is. Rosh, the head of the months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. I don't care what they do. What they do is on them. Yah said, this is the beginning of the year to you. I don't care what United States say, or Jamaica says, or United Nations say. Yah said, Abib, which we just read in Deuteronomy chapter 16, that is the beginning of months to you. All right? So Abib, which means green. So when things turn green is the spring. When the spring comes around, things start to change green. So I just wanted to hit that. We don't got to keep reading. Let's move on. Let's go to Yeshayah, Isaiah chapter 1. So we know that we're supposed to shamar the new month. We know that. We're supposed to shamar the new year, the head of the year. We know that. So is that just captivity, or what is that for? Isaiah chapter 1. And we're going to read verses 1 through 20. You have Isaiah calling us out for how we are dealing with Yah's holy days. And how we say that we want to keep holy days. We want to keep, do sacrifices, want to do all this stuff. But then yet we doing straight wickedness and thinking that it's going to be accepted. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 1. The vision of Isaiah the son of Amoz, which he saw concerning Yehuda and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Yehuda. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for Yahweh has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows his owner, and the donkey his master's crib, but Israel does not know, my people do not consider. Ah, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken Yahweh. They have provoked the Holy One of Yasharal unto anger. They are going away backwards.
So the ox knows his owner and the donkey his master's crib. But Yasharal, we don't know. We don't even consider. Now you ask yourself, why we don't consider? We don't consider because we want to always make those decisions. We choose to be, I'm born here, so this is what I am. Or I hang out with this crew, so this is what I am. I live on this block, so this is what I am. We grab a hold of anything instead of actually considering, well, what am I? Where am I from? What were we before slavery? Go ahead.
Why should you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Your country is desolate, your cities are burned with fire, your land strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. And the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in a vineyard, as a lodge in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city. Except Yahweh of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Hear the word of Yahweh, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our Elohim, you people of Gomorrah. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, says Yahweh? I am full of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or of he-goats.
He didn't want those sacrifices. That was mercy. That was, okay, blood takes blood to atone for sin. Well, I'm going to allow the blood of an animal to atone for you, for grace for you. But that was supposed to elicit you to hurt your pockets, because when you talk about killing a bull or a ram, that was expensive back then. You ain't talking about killing some little small chicken or something. You killing a large animal that takes money to raise and feed. But we didn't care, because as we increased more, we just increased our transgressions because our sin budget got better. Go ahead.
Verse 12. When you come to appear before me, who has required this at your hand to tread my courts? Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Shabbats, the calling of assemblies.
All right, so bring no more vain oblations. He didn't say don't bring any oblations. Don't bring any vain oblations. Incense is an abomination to me. The incense is an abomination because your prayers are abominable. Because if you are walking in a wicked manner and then turn around and pray for Yah to help you, but you crapping on your own brothers and sisters, your prayer is an abomination unto him. And he said your new months and your Shabbats, the calling of assemblies, those are all the things that he commanded us to do. He is tired of it. He was sick of it. So does that mean we stop? We don't do any of those things anymore? Go ahead, finish that verse.
The new moons and Shabbats, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting.
But he's saying, I cannot away with it. So he's bearing through our holy days and our new months and our calling of assemblies and our prayers. He's bearing through it for his own name's sake. So if he's going to bear through it, who are we not to keep his days and show up on his days? And he's bearing with it. He don't even want to deal with it. But he's bearing with it because his word said that we have to do it. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 14. Your new moons and your appointed feasts my soul hates. They are trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them.
Your new months and your appointed feasts my soul hates. They are trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. And when you spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear you. Your hands are full of blood. So we praying to Yah, help me accomplish this thing I'm trying to do. Help this thing come to pass. Help me overcome this affliction. Help me get my family together. Help me get my business. Help me with all these things. But our hands are full with blood. Why are our hands full with blood? Because we know better. We know better, yet we still transgress. We make excuses for it. They want to turn around and say, well, I'm trying to do something for you with a bunch of blood on our hands. Finish that up. Verse 17.
Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. Come now and let us reason together, says Yah. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
Let's keep it real. All right? Yeah? Let's reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins be as scarlet. So ain't nobody walking around here with this bleached white garment on. We red like scarlet. But he said, I will make you white as snow. That's the only way we're going to be clean. You're not going to be clean by trying to keep commandments, all these commandments right away. It don't work that way. Yeah, you need to keep the commandments and be and walk in obedience. But this is what he's talking about. If you be willing and obedient. Obedient ain't just what you decide is important to do. Obedient is whatever the Father tells you to do. You do. That's not for you to choose and make a decision. You shall eat of the good land. But if you refuse and rebel, and what are we refusing? What are we refusing to do?
His word.
Refusing to follow his instructions and be obedient. What are we rebelling against? The word of Yah. What Yah told us to do. Where he told us to be on specific days. Where he told us to go on a specific timeline. You shall be devoured with the sword. And the sword is a metaphor for the word. You're going to be devoured by this word. For the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it. All right. Just wanted to read that real quick. All right. I think we had a question. Shalom, brothers and sisters. And Sis Yah and I said, would it be possible one day to give a lesson on the way we're to observe the Father's holy days? Like, what are we supposed to be doing for Passover, for the Feast of Tabernacles, etc.? Yes, as we go into the holy days, if you actually want to go back into the classes, you can look at the classes around the holy days. We always teach right around that. But with Pesach coming up, we're going to have Pesach classes about the proper way to keep it, when we're to keep it, the days, all the things that we're supposed to do, the things we can't do anymore. Like we can't go kill the lamb and put blood and all, do the animal sacrifice. We're not in our land. It's not lawful to do so. So we're to memorialize those days. So we're definitely going to go over that and go into detail so we can do the best that we can. All right. So let's go to Bereshit, Genesis chapter 15, and we're going to read 13 through 14. Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 15, and we're going to look at this 400-year prophecy. It may not be important to you or to the world. They may not care about it. Everybody business as usual. The world didn't blow up by nuclear bombs, so everybody's business as usual. But at the end of the day, it's just like that frog cuts up that heat. Just little by little, little by little, little by little, until it's too late.
What we say?
Verse 13.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
All right, this is not our land. Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that's not theirs. Our land was divided up. Our land is from the Nile River to the Euphrates. Not just that little piece they call the state of Israel, but from the Nile River all the way to the Euphrates, all that land in between, that's our land. United States is not located there. That's not our land. Okay.
And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
All right. That's all we've been doing since we've been here, serving them. And even though they so-called abolished slavery, we still serving them with our social security numbers, with our straw man, with the system, with tax, with income tax. When we don't make income, we make wages. We're people. Now, if you're a business, you make income. Businesses pay income tax. That's why these rich people pay the majority of the taxes, because they're businesses. So we still serving them. We still being afflicted for 400 years. All right. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 15 and verse 14. And also that
400 years, 1619 to 2019, and we're in the first Hebrew year of that year. So this could be, in fact, be the end of the 400 year could be marked the beginning of the new year. We don't know how the clock started, but we know this is the new year of the 400th year, the end of that 400th year. So after that 400 year, that nation whom we served will Yah judge. Now, the judgment, we have certain clues how he judged every other nation that had us. They got destroyed and they never were a superpower again. That's every nation that had us in captivity. Had the tribe of Judah and had the Israelites in their control. Were a superpower when they had us, and as soon as we left, that was it. All right, go ahead.
And afterwards shall they come out with great substance.
All right. And afterwards, so they come out with great substance. And if you go into the Septuagint, it actually says something a little bit different, which I thought was interesting. Genesis 15 and verse 14. It says, and that nation whomsoever they shall serve will I judge, and after this they shall come forth hither with much property. Property. All right, so one says substance, and this other one says property. But there's a clear order here. Judge the nation you serve, come out with great substance and great property. So, saying all that to bring you to where we are now. We had our 400 years. It's documented with the Library of Congress, with the Jamestown settlement. It's documented with the House Resolution 1242. With Donald Trump, it's documented with the Jubilee Project and the Joseph Project in Ghana, which is the major slave port that sent us out. After that comes a judgment. And we've read several places about judgment, but we're going to key on this one right here because now we're starting to see plagues. Plagues. So we're going to go to the Apocrypha for the conclusion. We're going to go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15. 2nd Esdras, or 4th Ezra, chapter 15. And we're going to deal with these plagues. Because remember, they didn't just let us go. Yah hardened Pharaoh's heart. The same way Yah's hardened America's heart. Where America will acknowledge, yeah, there was slavery, yeah, everything happened. Well, they won't acknowledge, man, we mistreated the children of Yasharah. We mistreated God's chosen people. They won't, their hearts are hardened so they can be set for the judgment. Go ahead, bro.
Second Esdras.
Chapter 15. Elder, you didn't get your coffee? Elder.
Second Esdras, chapter 15 and verse 1. Behold, speak you in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in your mouth, says Yah, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against you, let not the incredulity of them trouble you that speak against you. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
All the unfaithful, all those that don't believe, gonna die in their unbelief. Don't want to be caught in unbelief. You don't have to know everything. You just have to believe. Go ahead.
Behold, says Yah, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
So wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth because the daughter of Babylon has spread her ways all over with all her bases and with her economy and with her banks that she's put everywhere. Go ahead.
Therefore, says Yah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cries unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore, says Yah, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Mizraim, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Mizraim with plagues as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof.
All right. but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. He said, I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Mizraim. Now he said again in Deuteronomy 28 and 68, I will send you again into Egypt by ships. We got here by ships. We walked into the first Egypt. So he's saying, I'm going to send you into Egypt again by ships. But then he says, okay, after this 400 years, I'm not going to suffer them to dwell in the land of Egypt no longer. So you can be as attached to this land as much as you want, but according to the prophecies, this place is going to be destroyed. The judgment is destruction. Just like when somebody says the judgment is the fire, the furnace, you're not surviving that. So that's the judgment on this land. And he's saying, look, you're going to come up out of here. Everybody coming up out of here. Whether you Israelite or not, you leaving here, you go into your own place if you escape the judgment of this country. And he said, I will bring back at the plagues of Egypt as before and will destroy all the land thereof. Go ahead.
Mizraim shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Elohim shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draws near, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands.
One people shall stand up and fight against another. This is a lot like Matthew 24. Nation against nation, right? Two people, one people. The people of the adversary, the devil, versus the believers. Go ahead.
For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
All right. So they will not regard kings nor princes. They don't care about power no more, because at the end of the day, they starving. Everybody hungry. Everybody in self-survival mode. So they're not caring who you're, you can't take nothing from a man who's starving and hungry and looking to save his family. Go ahead.
A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
Streets shut down, potholes, earthquakes, volcanoes, nuclear weapons, radiation, floods. You got all places where the whole streets have just been sucked into the ground. Go ahead.
For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Because of their pride. Their pride in that, oh, I got this nice house. I got these nice place. Yeah, I know y'all said this place is finna be judged and I need to go into my inheritance where I'm gonna live forever. But no, my pride, and I work too hard. You know, I went and got a college degree. I done spent all this money financing this. I got this. I'm finally balling now. And now you want me to go be a king? Nah. But because of their pride, their cities are gonna be troubled. Go ahead.
A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation.
And for great tribulation, such as has never been in the earth since we have been a nation. You're hearing it. Y'all don't just say it by one mouth. Just like I'm not the only teacher in the world who's saying this right now. We found other people that are saying the same message, that are reading these same scriptures. A great tribulation. It's telling you. And it says the spoil, your neighbors are coming in your house. That's what these guns are for. The guns ain't to think that you're going to go fight against the government. Nah. You don't have enough guns for the government, but you might have enough guns to survive the siege from your neighbors panicking, trying to break in your house, trying to steal your stuff, trying to rape and pillage, trying to do all those things because the evil spirits have been casted out. And they're looking for vessels. Go ahead.
Behold, says Elohim, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I also do, and recompense in their bosom. Thus says Yah Elohim.
Like as they do unto this day unto my chosen. His chosen are going against what the standard is, going against what the world is telling them and saying, no, I'm going back to an ancient way. Why? Because I was there, because I know now, because the word says that. And I have faith in the word. I believe in it. There's a spirit on me that makes me believe something that was written thousands of years ago. Go ahead.
My right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth.
My right hand, his right hand, Yahshua, Mashiach. He not going to spare the sinners. Sinners. You can't have a sinner without law. Go ahead.
The fire is going forth from his wrath, and has consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, says Yah.
Woe to them that sin, that transgress, and keep not my commandments. Now, you can talk about this all day long. You can talk around it, go in circles. You can come up with whatever doctrine you want. But from the beginning of the book all the way to the end of the book, it talks about transgression. All liars will be put in the lake of fire. All those that teach that you are not supposed to obey the instruction of the Most High. He said what places for them. You'll be the least in the kingdom. So what you think this is going to just change when the great tribulation come around? No, there's going to be even more transgression in the earth. How else are you going to wipe out 2/3 of people? Go ahead.
I will not spare them. Go your way, you children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. For Yah knows all them that sin against him, and therefore deliver he them unto death and destruction.
So that's what you'll be delivered to. Yah knows all of them. Now, if you think that you're going to open up your Bible and find 613 commandments and just keep all 613 commandments in this captivity and think that that's going to be enough without Mashiach, ain't going to work. It ain't going to work, because that is the baseline. He said that's the whole duty of man. Fear Elohim and keep the commandments. That's part. You have to be a profitable servant. So just to be at base level, you got to keep the commandments to the best of your ability. That's just to even be in the game, to be on the team. Then to actually have a place on the team and actually get in the game, you got to produce some fruit. What is your fruit? What is your profit? How is the Most High profiting from you in your life? Because you take care of your family? Because you show up on Shabbat? Nah, that ain't enough. It ain't enough.
For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and you shall remain in them. For Elohim shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against them. Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. For the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through power, and shall flee.
All right, so that's all I wanted to go over today. It is a new year, it is a celebration, but again, we have to understand the times we're in. If you were at the time right before World War II, yeah, you can celebrate, yeah, you can appreciate the holy days, and yeah, that's where the focus is. But yeah, you have to also make sure that you, just like when we built the wall, we had to build the wall, and we had to have our swords at hand, because they was trying to kill us. They were trying to stop us from building the wall in Jerusalem after we came out of Babylon. So that's the time that we're in. We have to be ready. We have to be on point. We have to have our warrior apparel. We have to be ready at any time to defend and to flee and to run and to help and to do whatever it is. Just like Ecclesiastes 18, there's a time for war, there's a time for peace. That's where we are. This is why Yahshua said, if whoever's on the housetop, you ain't got time to go downstairs. Whatever it is that you need to survive, you better have it on you. What, you left your field and the clothes, you left your stuff out there? Well, you better have something. You better have a covering. So that's where we are. So again, let us enjoy this new year. Let us enjoy this beginning of this new season, because it's going to be hell for those that weren't practicing, that weren't preparing for the new age. But for those that believe, it's going to be the beginning of the most beautiful thing that ever happened. But we got to believe what's written. We can't just keep showing up here in Shabbat and talking and reading and doing this and go back to just living life normal. We got to believe, and we got to do what it is and seek instruction from the Father to figure out what is it that I need to do. Y'all, you know every hair on my head. So if you know every hair on my head, then you know what I was created for. You know what I'm supposed to be doing. Send me guidance. He said the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. We the laborers. So there's plenty of work out there. We got to find out what it is. And until you find out what it is, you got to prepare to work. Before you can go to work, you got to have a work uniform. You got to make sure that you pass your physical, that you can physically work, that you're legally able to work, that you're old enough to work, that you know what you can do, that you got your resume. You got to prepare. So spiritually, what are we doing? Why are we always prepared for everything else that's not Yah related? So that's all we're going to do today. Before we go ahead and feast, any last questions or comments? That's right, the Rothschild Central Banking System. Absolutely, that Antonio Rodriguez, that Rothschild Central Banking System has been funding both sides of the war since the beginning of time. That's why when they talk about this big war and it's this nation versus this nation, it's really just the believers against the non-believers, because the non-believers gonna come together. Because they not like there's a real head over there and another head over there. It's the banks. It's the corporations that own both sides. And they funding both people. All right, let's go ahead and end in a prayer. All brothers will move their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east towards Jerusalem, where our temple was and where our temple in Hamashiach shall return. Abba Father, Yahweh, Elohim, the Allah of Abraham, Yashak, and Yaakov. Covenant Father, Elohim of Yahshua, we thank you once again, Yah. We thank you so much for your mercy, Yah, for bringing us through a very tough and tumultuous year, Yah. We learned a lot. We fell a lot, Yah, but we're still standing, Yah, through you, through your mercy, and through your patience with us, Yah. So we ask you once again, please be patient with us, Yah. We are just flesh. At our best state, we are just filthy rags. So we ask you humbly, Yah, keep your hedge of protection about us, Yah. We believe your word, Yah. You have given us the instruction on what to do, Yah. And we are just so used to being slaves, we don't know how to operate as kings. So we ask you to please encourage us. Please continue your chastening, not in your sore displeasure, Yah, but in your tender love and mercy, to gently push us in the right way. Help us to stand up straight, Yah. Be that brace, that back brace for us to keep us upright, Yashar, with you, Yah, so that we can be Yasharal, the upright with the mighty one. Yah, we ask that you send forth some more workers, Yah. We ask that you align your children together so that we can become that body according to your prophecy. Produce our cause, Yah. For we so desperately are trying our hardest, Yah, to please you, Yah, to be obedient unto you, Yah. So we ask that you increase our ability to be obedient, Yah. We ask that you also increase that hedge of protection, and not only about us, but about our families, Yah, giving them more time to open their eyes and to repent and to move the right direction. And we ask that you give us a very circumspect heart so we can consider our ways and our walk, Yah, so that we don't mislead those that are behind us, Yah, that are trying to follow, but we're walking all over the place, Yah. So we ask that you empower us in those ways, not for us, not for our righteousness' sake, Yah, but because you are righteous, Yah, because you are perfect, and your Son, your Savior word of Yah is perfect, Yah. And we come together and we're going to feast in your honor, Yah, and we thank you once again. We give you all the glory and all the honor. And we anointed Son, the Savior word of God, through Yahweh Shannah.